All right, guys. So our book is a complete Q&A job interview book, and this book is really exactly what it sounds like. It's really loaded with a bunch of sample questions you could be asked at an interview. It's literally like 245 pages of that. But we really try to get a deeper meaning out of it. And so here's what we think are the 5 most important things you should take from this book. So let's jump right in. Here are the 5 categories you'll see. And we're going to start with the actor factor, because the actor factor is the #1 important thing you need to know about interviewing. Everything is an act. You guys are all in school right now to get a good education, get good training, get qualified, and that's all going to help you get put that on your resume, and when you apply for that job you want, they'll look good. But when you're sitting down in the interview, does all that experience and background really help you get the job at the end of the day? And the answer is not necessarily, because you have to look at yourself as the actor or actress, and the interviewer as the director. And so they're only going to see your performance, right? They're not going to see through all, they're going to see your qualifications, but they're there to see what you can show as your personality. And so wherever you go, the faces and places are going to change for your interview, but your lines have to be the same. You're acting, and you have to get your lines down, you have to perform well. And so the director has to see you filling that role as the actor or actress. They have to see you in their workplace as a worker. So it's also important to know that when you're actually the last group addressed it, that you have to apply to a lot of interviews. Actually 12 auditions gets you 1 acting job, is what is the stat in the book, which is very important. So everything is an act, guys. When you walk into a room, how you walk into a room, the way you shake your hand, your eye contact with the person, the way you dress, you really have to understand this is an act, and you have to get it down properly. And there's a lot of preparation that goes into it as well.
My dear friends, we all know you are not Jennifer Lawrence. You don't become good actors overnight. You have to practice, practice, practice. And the author of this book, he suggested that we all tape ourselves answering his hundreds of questions, and then listen to it when you eat, when you breathe, when you sleep, when you drive. It's a little bit creepy, but in the end, it will eventually pay off. It will become your second nature to speed up those answers in an interview. It will pay off. And now for my second point, I will need the help from someone in the audience. You, sir, introduce yourself to me in 15 seconds. Go.
My name is Ashik Arif. I'm a finance major, and I'm in this class for 15 minutes, and I don't like it.
7 seconds. I kind of like it. You introduce your name, which is very important. Try to introduce your education and your work experience if you have any. You can also, it is always good to say something like, "It's a pleasure to meet you today." That will give you tip-top shape. All right? And my last point is salary negotiation. Hopefully, at the end of some interviews, you will be negotiating salaries with your interviewers. And I agree with my friend Chris here that you can always play the hot employee game. Like, I don't want to get bogged down right now. Have that game. But always, like, there will be interviewers who will be dying to just knock you down. They will be aggressive in their questions. Then you have to be prepared. You have to know the company that you're interviewing at. And you have to even know the company's performance, growth, stock values. And then with all that in mind, you can negotiate very efficiently. And now that you're prepared, you're in an interview, what do you do next?
You have to correct your body language, which in the book was broken down into 4 main categories. You have your posture, your movement, your space, and your eye contact. You put posture and eye contact into a similar category, and when you're thinking about these areas of body language, you need to think about how am I appearing to the interviewer. In the case of posture, what does it say about me if I come in and I'm slouched over and making poor eye contact? It doesn't say very good things. So you want to come in, you want to hold yourself erect, you want to have confidence. You also want to make sure to have strong eye contact with your interviewer, because what does that say about you if you can't look them in the eye? Are you lying? Are you just nervous? We don't know what the interviewer is going to assume, so we have to put our best foot forward. Another portion of body language is going to be the way you move, your movement. If you are making huge gestures over the top, that's not going to be very attractive to an employer. If you're like, "Oh, I was having a great time in school," it's just ridiculous. And on the same side, if you don't move at all, you're going to look petrified. So you need to find that happy medium where you can use your hands, you can talk with your hands a little bit, but you're not going over the top. Finally, you need to think about your space. You have your space, and your interviewer has theirs. You need to be able to breach that space, but in a non-aggressive way. A handshake is good, leaning into their area just to make sure that you're clearly understanding them is good. However, if you're trying to make your point and you're right here and you're like, that's way too aggressive. You're gonna put your interviewer off, and it's kind of out there. So we don't want to be doing stuff like that. Zach and I are gonna show you a demonstration here.
All right, so I'm gonna be the interviewer or the director, as I mentioned earlier. Here is your lovely actress. The first question I'm gonna ask her is, could you tell me a little bit about your education?
Well, I went to Harvard, where I had a 4.0, and I was also the student president of my student study club, and I graduated with 3 degrees.
Wow, I'm impressed with this. That's quite the resume. Is there anything you like to do for fun?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I love fishing because a lot of girls don't like worms, but you get the hook and you put the worm on there, and I'm like, it's not even gross to me. And then you gotta cast it out, and then you wait, and then bam, fish.
Wow. All right, so who wants to tell me what she did wrong? It's pretty obvious. Lewis.
So first off, she was twirling her hair and rocking.
Right. So it goes back to the space and the movement, right? And also when she,
She reached too far into your personal space.
Exactly.
Way too far.
She was great that she was passionate about fishing, right?
I love the fish, guys.
But it immediately creeps me out. She can be passionate about it without being too over the top.
Exactly.
So really it shows you how important body language is as part of your act. You can have a great resume like that with 3 degrees and a 4.0 for Harvard, but if you come off like that, I'm gonna be like, man. So it's really important how your body appears. But then going back to what you say, it's also important. It's not just the words that come out; it's how you convey those words.
Choosing your words that you convey more than just what you're saying is what delivery is all about. Like Zach said earlier, your interviewer only knows what you're showing them, and so your answers are playing 2 roles here. You're giving them more information, and you're conveying your character to them. Obviously, you want to give your best impression, but you don't want to be overbearing about it. This becomes especially important when you're dealing with sensitive topics or controversial questions that could trip you up. For example, imagine that you still live with your parents and your interviewer asks about your living situation. Professor Watson, how would you handle that question?
I would probably, well, it's not easy. You would probably, well, you could answer.
Just answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is one thing you could do. Just tell them, yes, I do live with my parents, but that wouldn't be enough. A great way to answer that is like, I made the decision to move back in with my parents because the current economy costs me way too much, spending way too much on rent and utilities. And that way you're portraying that you made a financially responsible decision for yourself. This is the same way you want to handle illegal personal questions as well. As uncomfortable as it might be, you don't want to dismiss them altogether on legal grounds. You want to be straightforward and honest, but emphasize that it doesn't affect your ability to get the job done.
Right. And really, like you said, this is all an act. You have to sell yourself, make it a performance. We also, like you just mentioned, you have to be sincere and honest about it. You have to stay true to yourself, true to yourself, true to who you are, because at the end of the day, they want to see someone who's an individual, someone who can stand up.
You also want to see a lot of positivity. You need to have a lot of positivity and a lot of optimism, confidence in yourself. Because if you're not positive about yourself, why on earth should the interviewer be?
And you only have 5 to 20 minutes to sell yourself. Make yourself a better product. Make yourself a product worth selling. Improve yourself right now. Work harder. Be honest. Take up an intelligent hobby to do so that you can tell your employers about all the great things about yourself in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, guys. It is, like I said, it is an acting job. It's a sales job. If you can sell yourself, you're more likely to sell your ideas once you have that job. If you can interact well in an interview, you can probably interact well with other people you work with, and be more successful. But at the end of the day, your job is to get employed and not destroyed. Thank you, guys.